Breaking news. Nobody expected this to happen now, but I believe nothing will distract Howie from winning the Super Bowl. I'll tell you everything that's happening, but first, make sure you've already hit the like button if you believe the Eagles will reach this year's Super Bowl. If possible, write, "Go Eagles!" Just days before the highly anticipated wild card matchup against the 49ers, everything indicates that the Eagles have a legitimate advantage. And this isn't just blind optimism from Philadelphia. From Vic Fangio's defense, which historically causes Kyle Shanahan a lot of trouble, to the return of the franchise's mainstay, Lane Johnson, and a running game ready to exploit the weakened linebacker defense, the Eagles arrive at this game with all the advantages one could wish for in January. And when you add an experienced and determined Jalen Hurts, who, incidentally, is back in playoff rhythm, this is a matchup where the Eagles can achieve something greater than just a postseason win. Let's be honest, no one has forgotten the tension between these two teams. The Eagles and Niners have history. From the NFC Championship blowout in Philly to the now infamous post-game comments and back-and-forth shade from the 49ers locker room, this game isn't just about advancing, it's personal. San Francisco fans felt robbed. Eagles fans felt disrespected, and now the rematch everyone wanted is finally here. But this isn't the same 49ers squad, and it sure as hell isn't the same Eagles team either. One of the biggest talking points heading into Sunday's game is the return of a familiar face, Bryce Huff. The same Bryce Huff who inked a major deal with the Eagles last season with sky-high expectations as the next great edge rusher. But Huff's time in Philly? It was a massive letdown. Injuries derailed his season, his production nosedived, and by the time the Birds reached the Super Bowl, Huff wasn't even in uniform. He was a healthy scratch. Fast forward to the offseason, and the Eagles shipped him to San Francisco. Now, he returns to the link with a chip on his shoulder, and 49ers fans are billing it as the Bryce Huff revenge game. But let's be real. There's not much to fear here. Huff leads the Niners in sacks, but that's less about dominance and more about how underwhelming San Francisco's pass rush has been. They've managed just 20 sacks all season. 20. And Huff himself hasn't recorded a sack since Week 7. Combine that with a dominant Eagles offensive line, especially with the likely return of Lane Johnson, and the scales tip dramatically in Philly's favor. Lane's impact goes way beyond X's and O's. His presence energizes the locker room, sets the tone in practice, and raises the play of everyone around him. Teammates have been vocal about how much his return means, not just from a physical standpoint, but emotionally. And let's not forget, this offensive line has been banged up and worn down over the past few weeks. Getting Lane back could be the turning point that reignites the offense. This game is going to be won in the trenches, and that's where the Eagles are quietly gaining steam. With Lane anchoring the right side and Cam Jurgens and Landon Dickerson benefiting from some much-needed rest during the bye week, Philly's offensive line could be getting back to full strength at the perfect time. And that's bad news for a 49ers front that's already struggled to stop the run and now finds itself dangerously thin at linebacker. This is where Philly can and should take over the game. The Niners are expected to rely on backups, guys who've barely played this season, to try and fill gaps and stop a rushing attack led by Saquon Barkley. That's a disaster waiting to happen for San Francisco. Saquon's ability to read zone blocks, bounce plays outside, or cut back inside makes him lethal on every snap.